Big stretch for the kid. All right, guys, welcome to this episode of the podcast. This one, camera's sliding down here. Yeah, there we go. This one's a really good podcast. I think it might be the first time I've had a podcast with somebody I've literally never spoken to before in my life, and I have no clue who this guy was going into it. His name's Henry Fitzgerald. Super sick dude. Badass downhill mountain biker. One of my friends had mentioned to see if I could get him on the podcast, and I DM'd him, and he was down, and I'm really glad we got to do this because it was sweet to meet somebody, meet some new people, and also to have like such a sick guy in the podcast and something different than skiing and snowboarding. So you guys are going to really love this one. Like I said, Henry's a badass dude. Obviously this intro isn't filmed in the podcast studio because I was late for the podcast coming back from MMA, and I didn't get to do a little intro in the podcast studio. So here I am, nice new sweater, hanging out, and filming an intro for you guys right before I upload this video. So big thank you to everybody that shared out the last episode of the podcast. If you guys want to get featured in the next episode of the podcast, just take a screenshot of the podcast, share it on Instagram, and tag me in it. It helps grow the podcast, get it bigger and bigger so we can get more guests on, cooler guests, and just keep upping the production quality and everything and making it just better overall. So I'm excited about that. Big shout out to Ridge Rogan Free Ski for shutting it out, BG Free Ski, Mason Ruckle, TMC Worldwide, and yeah, all the boys for sharing the podcast episode. I really appreciate it. Like I said, if you guys want to be mentioned in the next one, you know what to do. Before we dive into this podcast, I just want to say thank you to all the sponsors of the podcast. Red Bull for supporting it. I don't have a Red Bull cap yet. One day, hopefully. I would be sick. I would look damn good in it. Just saying. Along with that, K2 Skis, man, they're just the best. They've been hooking up huge. Like, guys, if you want an unreal pair of park skis, I highly suggest the Poachers. They're my go-to. I've been riding them for 2 years now, and I don't think I would switch with anything else. And also, I got new boots this year from K2. I haven't tried them out yet, but I'm really excited to try them out. They look really sick. We'll see how they go, and I'll keep you guys updated. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Vertica outerwear for hooking it up with some nice baggy outerwear, which is muy caliente. Everybody likes baggier clothes than skinnier clothes. Well, maybe we'll do this discussion one day, tight versus baggy, but I think we all know what the decision is. It's baggier clothes for the win, for sure. Especially if you're in freestyle skiing, maybe even if you're in downhill racing. So, and then of course wear leathers on top of that. If you guys are looking for mittens this season, like best mittens in the game, guys. Use the code Bruce, all caps, when you check out, and you guys get a little extra something thrown in your bag. And also, they're just badass mittens. I'm going to be rocking a pair this year. I'm really excited for them. I haven't tried them on in the winter, haven't used them in the winter, just a little disclaimer, but I have worn them around my house, and I like them a lot. And then finally, my favorite place of all, Mount St. Louis Moonstone. Huge shout out to them, and huge shout out to them just for having one of the best train parks around, and really just providing a spot for everybody to learn, hang out, and having a community there. So that's it's awesome. They do a great job. So big shout out to all those guys, and on to the podcast with my boy Henry. Enjoy, guys. 3, 2, 1. All right, we are now recording on all platforms, waving my hands like an 8. Up there's recording, down here's recording the mic. Sweet. Gonna give my boy Henry a ring, and then we're gonna go get right to this podcast. I'm stoked for this one. It's gonna be an interesting one. All right, we are rolling live in a sec. This is a brand new podcast with a new face we've never seen on the podcast before. Yo, what's up, my man?
Hey man, how's it going?
Hey, good to meet you, dude. This is first time, eh?
Yeah, good to meet you too.
Yeah, sick to see you, buddy. So Henry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sick, man. I'm stoked to have you on the podcast. I haven't had anybody from downhill mountain biking or mountain biking at all, and it's kind of new to see. It's nice to meet new people. I have no clue who you are, so this is gonna be interesting. I have no clue who you are whatsoever. Yeah, one of my friends, I don't know if you know him, Joel McNair. He said you'd be a sick guest for to have on the podcast. He said you're from West and you rep downhill mountain biking. I was like, fuck it, give this guy a ring and see if he wants to hop on. So yeah, dude, I'm stoked you made time to do this. So
cool. Cheers. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, I really appreciate it. So what have you been up to lately, man? Like you said, you're living in Van.
Yeah. So I've grown up in Vancouver, and yeah, right now it's kind of just my off season, like. Because of the pandemic and all the crazy stuff, like our racing got pushed back quite a bit, so it was all kind of in the fall. And then maybe for like almost a month now, I've just been hanging out at home and getting back into training
Yeah. Is there anything to ride in Van, or like you kind of gotta go? Like there's some trails and stuff, or?
Yeah, it's pretty sick. There's like 3 mountains on the North Shore that you can ride. One's super good for downhill, and the other 2 are good for like trail riding and stuff. If you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
It's a super sick spot.
I'm by no means any good at downhill mountain biking. I used to dirt bike a little bit. I've done like a little bit of downhill mountain biking, but I'm not good at it whatsoever. Are you coming for the podcast, Pat? All right, this is my friend Pat. He's my co-host. He was bitching about having to do homework. He wasn't gonna come join, so I was gonna do it by myself, but. He's decided to come and step in. So this is Henry. Yeah. We're just gonna sit down and have a little chat about mountain biking and all the cool shit in the world. So that's sick. So when does your season end then?
Well, usually it kind of ends in like around September, October. I guess season's kind of like April to October-ish, like with the main part of it being like July and August.
Yeah.
But yeah, because of like the pandemic, they decided to cancel all the races during like the deep part of summer and push them back to the later part of the fall, just to like, I don't know, kind of figure this stuff out, right?
But you guys were still able to do them in the fall?
Yeah, so it was like a condensed season, and the team I'm on actually just decided to only do like world champs, and then there was 2 World Cups after that, and we decided to come home because they're in Europe, and we're just like, I don't know, limit being away from home, right? So we just went for world champs, and then came back after that.
Sick, yeah, it makes sense for sure. Europe's a little iffy. Well, was iffy back then. So what team are you on then?
I ride for Norco.
Okay. Do they have like national teams at all for downhill mountain biking, or like Canadian team, US team, or no? Not that kind of level yet. Like it's just not really established like that.
Exactly. Like it just like since it's not an Olympic sport, like Canada really doesn't seem to care that much. Like for world champs, like you're technically registered under like your national like. I was registered under Canada, but like at the actual race, they don't give any support or anything, and just kind of like you're running like the Canadian jersey for that one race, and the rest of the year you're with your team or on your own or whatever.
Yeah, and then so you guys don't get any government funding or any help like that?
No.
But so you said like you're on Norco team and obviously they're your sponsor. Do they like hook it up a bit or like? For contests, like, because like it's gonna be expensive going to Europe and stuff, and like especially if you don't have national teams that are helping cover that.
Yeah. So I guess like, it's pretty sweet. They help out a ton and bring us over there and give us support and everything over there, which is super sick. And yeah, I'm super lucky to be on that program because otherwise I definitely wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive sport, I bet.
Yeah.
Bikes get up there. How often do you have to get a new bike?
You can pretty much run like the same like frame all year, but like you're kind of changing out like tires and stuff.
Yeah, it's like, ship brakes.
Yeah, and a lot of it's like kind of like re-greasing bearings and pivots and stuff like that. Like just like little maintenance things, not like full replacements. But yeah,
dope, dude.
You kind of like run the same bike like the whole year. Yeah,
that's sick. How much does your bike cost? Like full setup? If you don't mind saying.
I don't know, maybe. I really don't know. The bikes we're on right now, the frames are like they're still prototype frames, so they're not being sold yet.
Yeah.
But I think a frame would be, or a full bike would be around like 8,000 to 10,000.
So it's as much as your dirt bike, but without a motor.
Yeah, Kelsey's got one of those.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, super similar to dirt bikes in that way, but yeah, just like all the parts seem like, I don't know, just like a little bit more specific and I don't know. So like
I went
price up.
Yeah, I went downhill mountain biking. Where does Tomasz live again?
Fernie.
I forgot Fernie. Yeah, I went downhill mountain biking in Fernie this year, and like even because I didn't have a bike and we rented bikes, and like I was like looking around the shop and I'm like, oh my god, I can't afford a bike. I was thinking about buying one. I'm like, no, I can't.
Performance machines.
Yeah, I was like, I cannot afford this. I'm gonna buy a dirt bike with a motor and whap around for that price.
Yeah.
That's sick, dude.
The sick thing about bikes these days is like you don't need a downhill bike though, like a downhill specific bike.
Yeah.
Like enduro and trail bikes for like getting into it are so good, like because then you can still pedal up and
go down.
like, the majority of the off season I just ride my trail bike just because it's like so close to being as good going down, and like you got some good fitness going up and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And for the past like couple of years, bikes have been super good, and like you can buy stuff used for way less than like a brand new downhill bike. But still definitely.
What are the main differences then about making a downhill bike a specific downhill bike? Like you can't go uphill with it, or you would not want to go uphill with it?
Yeah, so like trail bikes, nowadays they all have like dropper seat posts, which are like like you just press a button and it goes up. Have you seen those?
Yeah, the bike I used had that. It was super handy. It was super nice.
Yeah. So those are super sick, and then as well they have like a big gear ratio, so like hard gears all the way up to easy gears on a trail bike, whereas a downhill bike just like a super small cassette to like keep it light and tinier, but like there's no easy gear to pedal uphill.
It's all about speed.
But then as far as like geometry wise, it's like pretty similar-ish nowadays between like yeah.
So that's sick, dude. So you said you're from Van. You lived there your whole life, I'm guessing, or like that area.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, North Shore, I don't know much about it, but I used to watch biking and stuff, and North Shore was always like the place to be in BC.
Yeah, North Shore is like the super OG kind of spot. Like it's where like I don't know, like skinnies and like ladder bridges all came from, and like there was like so much hype around that around like the 2000s and stuff, and it's kind of like died off that like genre of riding, but like there was like a huge boom in Vancouver then, and it's still like a pretty big scene.
So how much variety of trails do you have? Like, is there just like an endless supply of stuff up there, or do you run out relatively quickly?
Pretty much, because it's just like so many people here and like there's enough land that new trails just like keep popping up, or like an old trail goes out and then like comes back to life like in a few years. It's pretty sick scene.
Yeah, that's super sick how people like help out and build trails and stuff. We always like at home, like, well, I live in Ontario and there's not very many hills obviously, and like small town Ontario, bunch of ADHD kids with nothing to do. We'd always like try to build trails and stuff, and like people just get decked, and then you come back a month later and everything will be fucked, and you just like, you just give up because the trail, every time you come back to the trail, it'll just be worse than when you left it, and it's like, but that's sick, man.
Yeah.
So how did you get into downhill mountain biking? Like, how does anybody in your family do that, or is that just something you picked up on your own?
Yeah, my dad's just always ridden mountain bikes, and yeah, he's just kind of like grown me into being his little mountain bike kid, pretty much. Like, not my choice at all to ride. It's all his fault, which is pretty sick. They still get to ride with him and stuff, but yeah.
He still shreds?
Yeah, he loves it.
Nice, sick.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, do you do any snowboarding or skiing in the winter?
Yeah, I actually just got some snowboard bindings today for our splitboard setup.
Oh, that's wicked.
Nice.
First time getting that, I'm pretty fucking hyped to go walk around in the mountains and
That's my plan for this whole COVID plan.
Don't get him started. He's moving out west for the winter, and he won't shut up about his touring setup, and he's been spending all of his money on backcountry setup this year, and I'm stuck in Ontario skiing park all year. But
skiing's my thing, but I used to park ski until I got hurt, so now it's all definitely going to be, especially with COVID, I'm going to try and get it off resort as much as possible.
That's so sick. Yeah, I was snowboard like my whole life growing up, like, but just like way less than biking, and I don't know, I would just get hurt too much and like park riding, or not even like actually hurt. I was just like get discouraged by like eating shit on blocks and stuff, and
dude, you take some heavy slams in the park on a board for sure.
Where do you ride? Do you go Whist or Grouse, Cypress, stuff like that? Or?
When I was younger, I went to Grouse a bunch, and then like past few years, I've been kind of riding Seymour a bit, but like really haven't been riding that much. But this year, I'm pretty excited to get out a lot more than I have in the past.
Nice.
Yeah, that's exciting.
In Ontario, there's not, like Bruce said, not a lot of hills for biking, so a lot of like ski hills double as like mountain biking in the summer. Does that happen at all out in BC?
Well, Whist is pretty double.
Well, other than Whist, obviously, we're well aware of Whist, but that's about all I'm aware of.
Dude, I didn't know. Somebody told me, I was like in Whist last year, and somebody's like, I was like, so how busy is it in the winter? Or in the summer, because I genuinely don't go there.
You've never gone to Momentum?
I go to Momentum, but that's it, and like I'm not there, I'm not paying attention, and like there's a lot of bikers, but somebody told me it's like almost like twice as busy in the summer, just from mountain biking. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah, apparently it's busier, but I think a lot of it to do is just like random tourists checking out like the town and stuff.
You go up to
definitely.
You'd go up to Momentum and you'd either take peak to peak down or all the chairs. And if you went on peak to peak, there'd just be a lineup of tourists waiting for like the glass floor one, and you could get a full Gandhi just to yourself on the way down.
yeah, totally.
That's
fair
sick.
enough though. Glass floor is pretty sick.
Yeah, it is pretty sick.
I think last time I was at Whist in the summer, I was eating, I can't remember the restaurant, what it's called, but it's like right beside the gondola on the Whist base, and like right kind of on the side of like where the Cranksworth course is, and I guess where like the runs come out. And someone came, like there's this one trail that hooked right near the balcony of like where people are eating, and he lost it. His bike came tomahawking right into the restaurant area.
Oh.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, I'd be terrified to go downhill mountain biking. That was like the moment right there.
Yeah, that's so good. It's sick that they have like a drop coming to the finish line because like
yeah.
I don't know, everyone wants to like show up for the people in the village, right? And
yeah,
get all the action right there.
For sure, you want to put on a show. So, do you do any freestyle downhill mountain biking? What is it called? Why am I forgetting the name?
What, dirt jumping? You know that. I'm not very caught up on the
like
lingo.
what is it? What is it? Crank
Slope
style?
style.
Is it slope style?
Yeah,
Slope style MTB.
Slope
Yeah.
style too.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't do any tricks or anything, like.
But you just rip courses?
One hand off at a time kind of thing, but like I'm really down with hitting like big jumps on like a small hardtail bike and stuff, but.
That's super sick.
No tricks for me.
Can you do like moto whips? Not like tail whip, but like a moto whip style things?
Yeah. But it's one of those things, you know, some days are better than the others.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not your specialty, it's not your area of focus.
Dude, tricks on a bike are hard. I used to BMX. That was like my summer thing when Perry Sound, because
Sick.
yeah, I'm not good. I could do a 360. I could do a 540, and like
540 BMX bike.
I did like 2 or 3, and that was the end of my career. That was the highlight. But dude, it's hard, man. Like I used to be like, growing up as like a kid, obviously, like I'm sure you're probably saying, but I was like huge in like the Red Bull Signature series, and I would watch like
Life Behind Bars.
every single Life Behind Bars, Red Bull Rampage, Crankworks, all that shit, and it's pretty insane. And the level it's at now is like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those guys are, and it's like probably like super similar to skiing. Like they're just so precise and stuff, you know. Like, they're doing gnarliest stuff, but like back to back on jumps and like in front of the biggest crowds, and it's like I haven't even seen that before, and this guy's doing it back to back.
Like, that's gnarly.
So fucked.
Yeah, the level of progression's gone up a lot. It's gone up pretty fast in biking too, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Because like it's only really started like 20 years ago or so, right?
Yeah.
So.
And now you got airbags, progression bags, and foam pits and stuff too.
Bag?
Yeah, they have progression bag. Well, kind of like Travis Pastrana's house. They have that progression bag, and with the resi kind of over top of it. And you have resis and stuff now too to learn. Yeah, that's gonna help a lot.
Yeah.
So you're mostly just ripping as fast as you can. Like your races, you're doing timed races, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
like 3 to 5 minute kind of racetracks and just get down to the bottom.
how tiring is that? Because I've done, like I said, I've done a little bit of downhill biking, and by the time my arms are like vibrating.
That's
I'm
arm
just
pump. Yeah, you get that in moto,
like,
but I've never.
How are you? Like, because 5 minutes of that going that gnarly, and like, dude, if you slip out like at all, you're like, because obviously up top it's like a little more exposed, but then when you get down like into the trees and stuff, like you can't really make a lot of mistakes there, because you're gonna if you hit a tree going that fast, it doesn't end well, does it?
No. I don't know, it's definitely like a super physical sport, and a lot of the time in the off season, like spent in the gym and like doing intervals and stuff. But like, and a lot of the gym time is like, it's not just to be like stronger for going downhill, but also to like be able to take a hit if you do hit a tree or something, and like not get injured, right?
That's
like,
the
I think
main
that's such a
thing
huge
for us.
part of
it's trying to stay healthy.
Prolong your career, so if you do take, like you said, if you take a hit, you can get up again. You're not down for a while.
If you do take a big boy.
But do you get good arm, like, in terms like arm pump, because like I used to race dirt bikes when I was younger. I just kind of go to the track now, and that's my thing. But like, if I actually try and like push for like, try and like kind of go hard, like my arm pump gets bad for, depending on the track, how like the conditions. Do you get that in downhill mountain biking too, like forearm burn?
A little bit. Yeah,
you're probably used to it now.
I've been like pretty lucky. Yeah, you definitely get used to it too. But like, I don't know. I've been pretty lucky. I find I don't really get it too much, but like there's definitely longer, steeper tracks where I don't know. I kind of have it in my head. Like if I get to the bottom of a race run and I've got arm pump, I'm like, oh, it's because I was braking too much.
Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah.
like,
So
I don't know
using,
if that's a real thing,
your
but
fingers
like,
or, yeah.
Do you have any idea of like how close you are in time when you're going down? Like you're like, do you have an idea if you're going to be like close to a certain time, or are you just kind of guessing? And like, how many warm up runs do you get? Because I want that's interesting.
A lot of questions at once, right?
Yeah, I'm throwing it at him. Snap.
That's good. Well, yeah, you get a bunch of time for practice. Like usually a race will be on the Sunday, and then prior to that, like Thursday, you do a track walk. So you like walk the whole track with no bike, and then the Friday you'll have like 3 hours of practice.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, maybe like an hour and a half of practice, and then like a qualifying run.
Yeah.
And then the Sunday morning, you get an hour of practice, and then you're racing.
Okay.
So you usually get like at least like 10 laps in before, and like at least one track walk, and sometimes you do a second track walk if it's like a bit more complicated of a track.
Yeah, that's
so you
pretty
get a
good.
lot of like time on it.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
you pretty much know like if you're gonna be, I don't know. You know where you're at.
Yeah, you're not getting thrown in the fire where you hit it. You walk the track once and then race day you got to quali and go. Like yeah, it's pretty similar to slopestyle skiing in that or skiing in that aspect.
What is track longevity like in terms like do you get a lot of condition changes? Like if you're in a competition, you're the last one to drop. Does like everything deteriorate over time? I guess depending on weather and stuff would have an impact, but
yeah. It's just super kind of dependent on weather. Like some tracks are like way more hard packed and they don't really change that much, but for the most part they kind of like lines develop, and especially at like a World Cup race where there's like I don't know like that many more people at it going like super fast rather than like a local race where it's just kind of random dudes. But yeah, they usually get pretty beat up, and like if it does rain during the night and you are the last one to drop and it's been sunny all day, you've definitely got a bit of an advantage going into that with it being dry or whatever.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you're talking about doing intervals and stuff, and like I said, I've watched a lot of downhill mountain biking just like in my spare time because it's sick. And so how much like cardio and endurance actually goes into it? Because you guys are pedaling, but for a lot of the part it is downhill. Like, are you guys really pedaling hard, or are you guys like just flat spots?
Yeah. You definitely pedal super hard in like the spots you pedal, but like like you were saying, like you feel a fatigue of just like it's like a whole body thing, and it's definitely like like probably like similar to you riding moto, like you get fucking worked and you're breathing hard, but
you're not pedaling, but like it's all like the back and forth because I'm guessing like moto the less you sit down, the faster you're gonna be essentially, because like you want to stand up because then the bike can do what it wants and you're not like hindering it. Like that's got to be a big thing. Is if you're feeling good, you and the bike, you're not fighting the bike at all. It's just doing what it wants. I would be assuming that's kind of how you can tell if you're going fast. I don't know.
Totally. Yeah, like, and when you're letting off the brakes too. Like your suspension works so much better, but then also letting off the brakes is kind of a funny thing because like a lot of downhill is like hitting corners good. Yeah. And sometimes like it feels like you're on the edge when you're hitting a corner, because you brake like super late and you kind of get loose in it. But like sometimes that's not the fastest way. Like sometimes it's faster, like brake a bit earlier and like hit it fast and smooth without like
tighter line, a little bit cleaner than just wide out around the side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
for sure.
Damn. So I was going through your Instagram because I was trying to think. I gotta look at this. I come somewhat prepared. I got a little sheet of questions just in case we steer the podcast off course and all that nonsense. But I was looking at your Instagram and I was like, because when like obviously like watching downhill mountain biking, you see the ones through the courses through the cities and stuff. And I saw that you went to Mexico for a race. Is that something that you guys do a lot? Because that looked insane. Like tell me about that. That looks sick. Because you see all those ones of those guys ripping down stairs like so fast on bikes, and that's sick.
Yeah, that was such a sick experience. That's the only one I've ever done, but yeah, it's like the riding's like it's pretty fun, and like there's definitely some big jumps in that one too, and they're just like that much sketchier than like any other jump. Like I don't know, those ones are like built like like the speed you had, they were like too steep for how fast you're going. So you're kind of like just absorbing the steepness of the jump rather than like actually hitting it. So they're just like the whole course down is just super sketchy. Like there's one where like the very first drop in was like you went down a little ramp and then you're on like a roof, and then there's like a little alleyway underneath.
Yeah.
And then you jumped over some like live wires into the alleyway. And it's like shit like that the whole way. Just like super sketchy.
Super gnarly.
Throw in a little bit more of a spice, so to speak. Spice it up a little bit.
Jump some live wires, put some people there. Maybe give them a little tap. That's insane because like some of those corners are tight. Like in like some of the GoPro videos you see of them ripping down on the bikes, but like, and then you have like the wood. You have the wooden berms and everything like that. Is that like? Do you notice a big difference? Like. Obviously, you said you only grip.
Would it be a lot less sort of grip on like stairs and wooden berms, I would imagine, than down an actual mountain?
Yeah. Just because it's like so hard packed, it is like pretty slippery stuff. Yeah, and it's just like something like you don't practice at all, or at least I don't. So
no, I mean
it's like a pretty funny random experience, but just sick being down in the heat and stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That would be hot. Yeah, that would be a total different.
Dude, the heat would get to you for sure, especially on long tracks like that. What's the longest course you've ever done? Like,
I raced or like this year because of all like the weirdness going on. Like normally, like have you heard of Crankworks before? Yeah, like normally that's in Whistler, but this year they had like a little tour with just like a group of people, and they call it like the Crankworks Summer Series, and they did 3 different mountains around BC. Mm-hmm. And then one of the races they did, it was in Kicking Horse. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I skied there in the winter.
Yeah, we've kind of done the tour of all the mountains out there.
Sick. So yeah, they had a race in Kicking Horse, and maybe like 10 years ago now, they had like this super OG race called Psychosis, and it was like this long 15-minute track. And yeah, we raced that, and they brought that race back, and that was a super cool race. And that race, Psychosis, and then there's another race they normally do in normal Crankworks years called Garbanzo.
Yeah.
It's another like 15-minute race, and yeah, those ones are fucking hard.
Yeah, I can imagine, dude. That's a lot.
Kicking Horse must have been a cool one. Whereabouts were you on the mountain there? For that event, it was like a week long, and we did like that. I guess that Psychosis event was actually across the valley from the ski resort.
Okay.
On like there's like a paraglide launch right at the top.
Oh, sick.
Oh.
Yeah, so you like drop in from the top of there and then ride down like into the valley.
Nice.
But then for the other races, there was like we also did an enduro, which is like where you pedal up and do like a couple stages, and that was just all along the mountain. You kind of like went up to the top and the road down and stuff, and then they had the downhill race that started like halfway up the mountain.
Okay. That's gotta be brutal, the enduros. Do you do a lot of enduros or?
I've done like a handful of them, but yeah, not too many. I don't know.
It's
still
intense,
don't really know how to do them well.
Yeah, that's a lot of pedaling uphill.
Yeah, it's funny though. Like that's like most of my time in the winter is just spent kind of like pedaling and riding an enduro bike. But
in the winter,
yeah,
like where do you ride? Just riding around.
Just riding around the North Shore and on the mountains here. Yeah, just like it's such a like easy training tool because like for downhill, like you gotta like get shuttles organized and like usually when I ride downhill, I want to ride like a good proper downhill track. Whereas like if I'm riding it like my enduro bike, like I'm down to just kind of ride like any trail and ride like weird stuff for working my skills and stuff like that. But
for sure,
usually when I'm like downhill, like it's like a proper downhill track.
Have you done anything like any other sports? Like you said, you did a little bit of snowboarding, but like it's basically just downhill mountain biking. Any crazy shit like you were talking about paragliding or something like that, or no?
Not really. Like when I was younger, I played like basketball and hockey and all those things, and I've been playing a little bit of basketball recently. But yeah, pretty much just biking, and I've been getting into running actually, like this last year a bit.
Yeah, I got into running a lot. Like at the beginning of COVID, like when I got stuck at home, I was running a lot. I was going to do an ultra marathon, and then I got too busy, so I bitched out. I ran a marathon one day, and then I was running and like I trained for like I used to run like a lot of long distance when I was younger, and then like I took all winter off because I was just training for skiing and it was the winter and I was doing MMA and stuff like that, and I was like, I don't need to run. And then I got into the summer. COVID happened. I got stuck at home. I was like, I'm gonna do an ultra marathon. I was like, I'm gonna do it. I had like these shitty Walmart shoes that were like $40. And I did 2 weeks of running. I ran like 140K the first week. And then the second week I ran 20, 30, and then I ran a marathon. And then after that my knees were like in a lot of pain. And I'm like, man, if I mess up my ski season because I'm an idiot and I just try to run like too much and I hurt myself, I'm going to be pissed. So I kind of toned it down a lot. But it's good, man. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I probably wasn't as smart as you were. Like during the quarantine, like I ran 5K with my friend, and like he'd been running a lot, and like I'd been like biking a lot and doing a lot of long distance rides, so I felt like I had like super good fitness. And he's like, we're running this trail. It's called like the Baden Powell Trail, and it goes from like one end of North Shore to the other. Yeah. And it's like 45K, and he's like, we're doing this. I'm like, well, fuck, I'm not gonna say no. So I ended up doing that with them, and it was pretty fucked. I definitely like, I don't know, like by the end of it, like, or like you kind of like run along the 3 mountains, and like kind of the start of the third one, I was like pretty bonked and like just kind of dying, and like my friend saw me like running down the hill, like he was ahead of me, and like my knees were just like turning into themselves and stuff, and I like just looked like a shell of a person, like definitely not doing any good stuff for my body. And he gave me 2 Tylenol extra strengths, and
off you went.
By the end of that, like it kicked in like within 20 minutes, and I was like back to full on sprinting again.
Dude, that's sick, and that's a lot of
elevation changes.
Yeah, elevation. That makes it a lot harder for sure, and like not doing a lot before that. What they've been doing, what I've heard they do for ultra marathons, a lot of people is they just eat edibles and just run, like just a little bit of edibles and just keep going, man. Like they just like numb the pain a bit. Like you're like, I don't know, like 78K in, have a little Scooby snack, and off you go. Take it.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Take the rest of the run down.
You guys love the acid too up there.
Oh man, yeah. Some of those people are crazy. I can't dip in that. Yeah. That's why I don't live in Whistler. That's why I stay in. I've thought about going to Whistler multiple times. I've made my presence known in Whistler, had some fun, and then I'm like, I can't live here. I got sucked into the lifestyle too easily. And it's,
do you have any bad accidents or anything in terms of downhill biking?
I've really been pretty lucky. Like when I was younger, there was kind of like 4 years in a row where I like broke my arm 3 times and broke a collarbone.
That's pretty good.
And those are actually all up in Whistler.
Yeah.
But since then, I think my last injury, I did my collarbone when I was like 14. So it's kind of like just those few years where I was just banging them off, and then I guess like I just kind of started getting in the gym after that, and I've been pretty lucky to like not have any crazy bad crashes or.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You see a lot of do you see a lot of gnarly crashes? Like when you're competing and stuff, and people just going over the bars into a tree or something.
Yeah, like
it happens enough.
It just happens so quick, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's definitely a fair few.
There was one TV show or something I had bought on iTunes back when I was like 12 or 14 of like the OG Nitro Circuit. So it would have been like a Thrillbillies movie. I don't know if you know what that is. But there was like a 12-minute mountain bike crash scene in there, and it was some of the gnarliest bails I've ever seen in my life. Like, there was this one spot on the same course where 5 different people had the same thing. It was like you came out of the trees like a flat spot, and then the course kind of took a left-hander, but there was like a rock in the middle, and everyone seat bounced themselves right out the front and then just belly flopped on the flat. There's like 3 or 4 people that did that.
Jesus.
Or just people taking hard ones onto the rocks. Like, there can't be a fun way to fall if you're whipping through like a bunch of just like staggered stones and roots and trees.
Yeah, like recently, like the bad ones I've had is just like you just hit so hard, and like you're like your body probably like wants to cry or something, but the only like response you get is you just start sweating real hard.
Oh yeah,
those
that's a hard response.
Like in skiing,
you need a good one.
In skiing, you can usually find a bailout. Like if I've got the right speed for a jump and I'm doing like I don't know, a dub 12, let's say, and it goes wrong, I can usually find a way to get out of it where I'm not really going to hurt myself.
You just roll to your side and land on your side
or your back, or just, it depends which position you're in. There's multiples, but like in biking, like I said, if you're going fast and there's lots of hard, sharp objects on, I just don't see a way where that ends well.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, I guess I've never really thought about a good exit plan of crashing rather than just like not crashing.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna make
cool
one for you. We're gonna make you a guide 101. Stop, drop, and roll. We'll send it over to you.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Elbows out, face in.
No.
As many cartwheels as you can.
It's not tomahawking.
Yeah, that's gnarly, dude. It's super gnarly. Cool, man. Well, we've done like 30 minutes now, so I got one question I've been asking kind of everybody on the podcast, and I guess I'll throw it your way. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Oh, so how old are you, man? Like,
I'm 22.
Okay, so you're the same age as me.
Yeah. Sick. Yeah.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now I'm living at my parents' house.
Yeah,
so
me too, man. I'm in the basement. My podcast dude's in the basement. He's living in my parents' basement, renting.
Sick.
Yeah, we're on board with the lifestyle. You're not far off.
I'm in the basement too right now.
Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome. Yeah. So moved out. Mm-hmm. Still in Vancouver, and yeah, still racing downhill mountain bikes. Yeah.
Sick.
Hopefully, just being better.
Yeah.
Being better at little things. Yeah.
For sure.
But I think pretty similar. Like I've just been loving hanging out and riding, and yeah, I want to really keep keep doing other things like split boarding and playing basketball, and I really want to get into surfing. I only have a wetsuit right now, but I got to get a surfboard, and then
that's on my list to do. Surfing is, I was telling Bruce that the other day, I want to surf big waves. Not even remotely close to being ready, but I want to do it.
Dude, I've done a decent amount of surfing, and big waves scare the hell out of me. It is intimidating, but it's fun for sure.
Whereabouts in Van are you? Like, are you close to coast at all, or?
I'm on the North Shore.
You are on the North Shore. Okay, I heard you were riding there, but I missed the first part, so I didn't know if that's where you said you were.
Yeah.
Nice. I've always wanted to go to Tofino. It looks super sick. I haven't made it out yet.
Yeah, I haven't really surfed there. Like last year, I went to Bali for a month, and that was kind of like where I learned how to surf. And yeah, so I haven't really surfed like here, but yeah, I'd be pretty stoked. The only thing is, there's like, you got to take a ferry to get to the island to go surf. Yeah, so it's like a bit annoying, but
it's definitely a pain.
It's still an option here. If you want to surf, you got to get on the lakes, and the waves are just all over the place, and it's like a little bit of a different animal.
The Great Lakes,
it's not tidal; it's all wind based. So the amount of timing, like
the weather has to be perfect, and usually when the waves are big enough to surf, it's like midwinter. And it really sucks.
We had a storm. We had a storm here 2 weekends ago. A week ago from Sunday or something, and we had like over 100 km/h, so right around 100 km/h winds at the island out on the bay, and it was 3.7 or 3.8 meter waves.
Which is like pretty big for
you. But they were crashing every 1.4 seconds. So it's just
there's no lull in it
at all
for sure.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah,
have you gotten out in them much, like to surf in the lakes before?
I have friends who do it.
I haven't surfed the
I've
lakes.
not done it, no. Because I work a lot in the summer, and I'm not usually in the area in the winter.
I'm too cheap. I don't own a surfboard or a
But
wetsuit.
you also need like a ridiculous wetsuit
to
not freeze to death.
Because you need at least a 6.
You can't do it until at least this time of year. Well, a little bit earlier than this time of year, but it doesn't really pick up till.
I've done some trips, like you said, to Costa Rica and Hawaii, and I've done some surfing there and stuff like that. And like kind of wherever I get a chance to go surfing, like if I'm somewhere where there's surfing, I usually try to go, but by no means am I good at it. Like I don't go enough. I would like to, but I don't go enough.
Totally. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at too.
Yeah. That's sick, man.
The idea of it's super sick, but yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to go surfing if you're not like in somewhere like Bali or Hawaii or Costa Rica or like Cali or something like that. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
For sure. Sick, dude. Well, we'll wrap it up there because I know you got things to do, but that was that was an awesome podcast with you, man. It was really nice meeting you. Here, I'm just gonna pause it.